Hi, I wanted to share this video with you all so that you have an understanding of the upcoming article reflection presentation assignment that has now been posted on Canvas. What you are looking at is your view in Canvas. We have, or you have access to this in a couple different ways. If you want to go into assignments, and then if you look down here, upcoming assignments, October 5th is the due date. And if I click on this and open it, it tells you 75 points. One thing that's going to be important is that because you are in groups, I need you to go into this form right here. And if you would please fill in your name, the group number for your article, your email address, cell phone number, and your preferred contact. So preferred contact is email, text, or either. And you will either be in group 1, 2, or 3. And I'll show you how to look at what group you are actually in. Right here, you see that you will have an assigned article, and that's going to be dependent on the group that you are in. So when you find out if you're in group 1, 2, or 3, so for example, if I'm in group 1, then this is the article that my group will read, each of us individually. Group 3, you have 2 articles, but one of them is 5 pages and one of them is only 8. The other 2 groups have either a 15 or 20 page article. That way, the reading content and the amount is equal. All right, so let's go back into Canvas and look at what you need to do. Here again is your link for your contact information. I'll go ahead and show you in People. Click on Groups, and then Article Presentation Group 1, 2, and 3. You can see here that Chloe, Sarah, Colin, Erica, Kira. So you'll just click on either one of these each of these to figure out which group you're in. So if you're in group 3, you have the other 2 articles, which you'll access through the Google Drive. All right, let's go back into the assignments. Let's go down to the article reflection and presentation, which we were just in. Okay, so now I know if I'm in group 3, I can access this document here and fill in my contact information. Definitely figure out your group prior to inserting that information. That just keeps you from having to go into that document multiple times. All right, so as an individual, after you've read the article, you will meet as a group via Zoom, Hangout, whichever platform you choose. And you need to be able to have an educated conversation with your group members, talking about your overall summary or the overall summary findings of the article, basically what you thought. Did you agree, disagree with the results or opinions of the author or authors? Do you have any personal experiences that you could share related to the content of this, or know of anything that you've heard lately in the media, anything like that? So how do you make it relevant to you? And then when you come together as a group, you need to have one additional resource specific to that topic, the main focus of your article. So as you're reading it, I hope you'll think that, oh, I've heard something about this. Let me go back to either that site, or maybe there's a movie that you feel like may relate to it, or another article. If not, then you can just do a Google search or Google Scholars search and look and see if you can find anything else relevant to that. Your textbook is also a good resource. I know we haven't talked a lot about some of the content, but I do hope that you're keeping up with the readings. If you haven't, the information in those pages assigned to the social justice issues and how important that is in outdoor education, it would be very beneficial to you if you would go through and read that content. Okay, so you will, as a group, you will get together and each of you share this information. Please don't come to your first initial meeting with your group having not having read the article, because you will not be able to contribute equally, and it is frustrating as the group member that comes prepared. All right, so as a group, you will develop a slideshow. Google Slides would be the preferred platform to use, and in your slideshow, you are going to develop a presentation that you all will share with the class on October 6th, Tuesday, October 6th. Here is the criteria requirements for the slideshow. So you need a title slide, which is the name of the article, the authors, and then each of your names that are in the group. You want at least one slide to share the overall summary or findings, so you can see the point values. At least one slide to share the key points, one to discuss each group member's opinions, thoughts, perspectives. You can list each person's name and then just put a little blurb about what that person thought, excuse me, or your opinions. How you organize the content is up to you. You can have a separate slide for each individual. Just remember for PowerPoint presentations, Google Slides, that you really don't want a ton of information on one slide. So more is not always better. I'd rather you have a couple different slides for each of these main content areas so that when you are discussing this, we are not overstimulated with too much information on one slide. So just think about that. Keep that in the back of your mind as you're putting your slides together. Any personal experiences would be the next focus. And then another slide that shares your additional resources. And you can see, again, the point values there. I've just given you a couple tips here for when you first meet that you can decide on who's going to start the slideshow. So once you get your contact information in that form, everybody has access to that. And one person just take the initiative, send an email out to the group or a text, and try to think of when a good time for each of you to meet would be. Now that you're getting this assignment ahead of time, and we typically would have class on Thursdays, maybe that's a good meeting time for you. It's really up to you, but definitely set a date sooner rather than later, preferably before the end of this week, so that you can get this going. Make sure you have each other's email. I've already talked about that. Choose a day to meet. Again, I've talked about the importance of being prepared, so you have the content information, you've thoroughly read the article, you've taken some notes, you kind of have an idea in your mind how the presentation could go, and then as a group decide how each person thinks the presentation would look, and go from there. Develop an outline for your slides, decide who will present what information. This should not just be one person from the group talking. When you share each other's opinions, you may want to share your own, but it's really up to you. Just make sure that each person has equal amount of talking time. Set a couple different dates after you get your initial one or after you have that first meeting so that you are staying on top of this and not waiting to the last minute. I would definitely suggest doing a practice run of this, and that way you can work out the kinks. It's very frustrating to myself as the instructor, and then also your classmates if it feels like you're just reading the content. And really with a presentation, you shouldn't have word for word what you're going to say. You have the key points, and then you talk from those key points. And prior to the due date, someone needs to share the presentation with me. You do not need to give me editing rights, just simply viewing rights so that I know you have that. Okay, so that's the way that's going to work. You will submit, I'll send a document that you'll put the link in for the submission. And then I think that kind of covers everything as far as this assignment goes. I'm going to go out of here and go to our class calendar, and you can see here I've changed the due date, and I do apologize. I did not have the link set up ahead of time, and I appreciate a couple of you bringing that to my attention. So please don't ever feel like you can't say something to me if something doesn't make sense on this outline. All right, so you have access to it here. Here is a Google document that basically is telling you exactly what is posted in Canvas. I'm trying to put this information in a couple different areas so that depending on what seems to work better for you, you have it. Again, it's the same thing. It's the link to provide your contact information, the assigned articles, the directions, and again, just kind of developing a plan for who is going to do what. All right, go out of that. And then you can see that I've updated a couple different things on here. We did our virtual escape room yesterday. I thought that was really fun, the group that I was in. I hope you enjoyed it as well. I'm sorry we didn't get to come back together as a large group, but that's okay. We'll touch base when we meet next week. And we have a couple different activities. Again, it's really important that you're keeping up with the reading. I want you to take that information, and I think you figured out now that I'm not going to lecture to you a lot, but your success moving forward is going to be dependent on you reading the information. I don't like to just give random quizzes and that type of thing, but if it feels like you are not prepared for class and we need to move to different types of assessments to make sure that you are reading and grasping the content, we can do that. But really, it's up to you to make sure you're keeping up with the readings. And we will be working on our own virtual escape room, but that's something else. This video really is intended for the group article presentation. I'm hoping that this is helpful, and you will, at least one person in the group, take initiative, email each person, read through the article, and then on Tuesday come prepared to talk about any questions that you may have. All right, that's it. I've rambled enough, and just email me after you've listened, watched this, and communicated with your group if you are unsure how to get started.